Everybody going?
Coach, Daniel Cloutier obviously had an amazing season last year.
Right.
What have you seen him working on the most this offseason, and how can he even get better after a season like
Right,
that?
right. I think that, what we try to talk about with him is, if you're going to try to outdo what you've done in the past, especially last year, I think is where you cause some problems, right? Some issues. So I think for him was, look, mentally, where are you, right? Like, are you trying too hard, or and so for us, for me, especially for him was, how mentally can you just keep it in there and keep doing the same thing you've done that made you successful? I'm not trying to rewrite his swing or rewrite what he's done in the past. So.
A lot of turnover, a lot of new guys on the team. Just who are a few of the guys who have maybe stood out to you between fall ball and what you guys been doing leading up to it?
Right. As far as players, Max Galvin's been a bright light, I think. Todd Hudson, Williams. We again, I think just hearing Laz and obviously JD, just the depth that we've had, I think within our lineup, I think has really helped us. But the guys have come in and they've worked hard. Jake Ogden is another guy who's solid. Not only defensively but obviously offensively, and I think he's going to really help us. So.
Coach, with Hudson switching from two-way to now hitter only, besides athleticism, how have you worked with him, and what do you see?
Yeah. Trying to say I'm a big guy, so for me, and working with him, it's always nice because a lot of the things I see in him, I see in myself as well. So just trying to minimize, trying to keep him clean. I think that's a word that we use a lot. Not trying to overdo it. I think a lot of these guys, he said, they come from mid-majors, they come from smaller schools, they want to try and hit the long ball and trying to do it that way, where for us and for me, hey man, just minimize. Let's put the ball in play. I think with him, the power is going to come as long as he puts the ball in play and he knows what he's doing, he keeps everything clean.
Coach, last time you were at Miami, it was 3 years at Dominguez.
Yep.
You was the head coach. What do you take from that time that you might have not known or learned in your first year at Miami a couple years ago to now?
Yeah. The COVID year I was just talking to one of our assistants. The COVID year was tough, right? A lot of change, a lot of different things that we couldn't do. Fans were minimized. So I think even media day, we didn't have it, that year. And so I think for me, just, going through a round of that helps. Obviously, at a big school like Miami, I grew up watching this school, so I know the expectations here. But also being a head coach before, I think has helped me, and also how to talk to players, and how to get into their heads, and what are hopefully the important things we need to work on. I think that's really helped. But yeah, I think all the experiences always help.
Yeah. Can you talk to me about Dorian a little bit, one of the longest tenured members of this team?
Yeah.
He certainly, I think, last year was kind of forced to go into that leadership role, but this year maybe even more. Can you talk to me about his role within the team, both in the lineup but also just in the clubhouse?
Yeah. It's all, especially with a lot of new guys that we have this year, right? So you got an older guy who's been part of the old regime, and then now the new regime, even though JD's been here forever. But absolutely, right? It's a bright spot in what you're teaching and what you're trying to teach. Also the expectations of the program. Also, just telling guys, hey, you got to be up for our schedule, right? Like, you got to be ready. You got to stay focused the whole entire time. So, when you have a guy like that who you don't have to coach up a lot and can help be an extra coach in the locker room, it helps, man. It helps. So I think that's been his major bright spot, but also he's a good player, man. So he's going to really help us.
Coach Mikey Torres, known for his defense, obviously. I've seen him hitting seems to have picked up a little bit. What have you been working on with him?
Oh man, again, he's a guy who from the fall, not that he struggled, but again, you're learning new things. You're young. Defensively, he's been elite. I mean, it's one of the most elite defenders I've ever seen. But offensively, we're facing some good pitching. We have good depth. So I think for him, just understanding his swing, understanding his body, hey man, for him hitting the ball on the ground, it's important when he has two strikes or maybe facing a tough pitcher. I think just for him not looking overmatched, I think was one of the things, and he's done a great job. And like you said, over the last 3 weeks, he's been really good and he's been practicing really well. So I'm excited to see what he does throughout the season.
All right.
Good. Thank y'all. Thank you.